The Auburn Tigers travel to Cameron Indoor Stadium to face the Duke Blue Devils for the first time in history. Let's talk about it. Yes, sir. Up Tempo gang, Auburn family, welcome back to another episode of the Up Tempo podcast. Big matchup on the hardwood, Blake. Auburn traveling to Cameron Indoor Stadium for the first time ever, and we figured we'd bring in some people from the Duke side of things, kind of get a look at our ACC foes this coming Wednesday night, man. Really excited. Historical matchup for Auburn. I think it's just a testament to the brand that Bruce Pearl has built. But you want to introduce our guest, man, and let's get in here and chop it up.
Yeah, man, this is the 5 Point Play podcast with the Duke Blue Devils. Glad to have them on. We got D, the Duke fan, also known as Dustin, also, and our guy AC, man. Glad you guys could come on. Hey, one thing I'll say real quick, fellas, is Auburn getting the opportunity to go to Cameron Indoor. It's something that I really never thought I would see in my lifetime. For Auburn to be in this position as a top 5 team in the country in basketball, right? It's sometimes I still got to pinch myself and say, hey, is this real? And we got a little taste in 2019 of actually getting to go on a Final Four run, and I know you guys get to experience it all the time, and it just having the opportunity to go to Cameron Indoor and get to experience that for our program, man. Like, we're coming off the Maui Invitational victory, and I think this is a massive thing for Auburn. Even if we don't win the game, like even if we go up and you guys beat us, I still think it's massive for Auburn. So I can't wait for, if some of our fans or the coaching staff, I can't wait to hear what they say about Cameron Indoor, because I know it's electric.
That's a great place. Sure. It's a great place, man. And this is good for college basketball, man. Like, number one, I'm so happy to be done with the ACC Big Ten Challenge. I'm so happy we moved to the SEC Challenge, because you just get different matchups. It's better brand of basketball, all the above. But honestly, man, like, this is just so good for college basketball, because like the blue bloods aren't like nobody's gonna have 10 years of sustained dominance like they did 10, 15 years ago, whatever. Like with the changes in NIL and the portal and everything, like this is like what you're saying is true for a lot of teams and a lot of people. Like, you can't imagine that your team would be in this position, but here they are, and it's because of the portals, because of all that stuff, man. Like it really has changed the game, and I think it's good for the sport, quite honestly. But no, I'm happy to be playing Auburn. Like, this is an awesome matchup. Love the matchup in Maui recently. It's a great program. Bruce Pearl's doing work. And this is a great test for Duke, quite honestly, a team that we're supposed to be one of the national championship contenders or whatever. We haven't done our job against the better teams yet this season, but I think this is just a good opportunity for both teams to play high level basketball in November or December, I should say.
Well, D, let me ask you this, man. You guys, you're a young team, right? And Cooper Flagg, and we know Knipple and those guys, they've got it going. Like, how do you feel about this Duke team? And I know you suffered 2 early losses, but it was two of the better teams in the country. Like, is it going to take this Duke team a little bit of time to gel? Is it going to take them a little bit of time to come together? Like, where are you sitting on this Duke team right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to judge a team until, after December, like maybe even midway of the conference season. But I think what you're going to see from Duke after January is what Duke is going to be. And they're getting there. Key for this team is you got to make shots. Like, Duke has got to make shots. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, it's built around 3-point shooting. I know we got the 7-footers, but it's built around 3-point shooting. And Tyrese has got to show up. Foster's got to show up. And the vets that we brought in off the portal have got to show up. And quite frankly, I think they have. And like you said, we've lost 2 good teams. We haven't been blown out yet. So, you just keep plugging away, and you learn from your mistakes. And I think John's doing that in practice. And, nobody's there but them. So I'm excited for tomorrow. I mean, I'm nervous and I'm excited. And I will say one thing about Cameron, man. Like I say this all the time. AC, you've heard me say it. Yeah, you could be an alien from Jupiter and get dropped into Cameron Indoor Stadium and have no idea what basketball is, but you know something special happens there. Like it's that type of environment. It truly is. It truly is.
Well, AC, I wanted to ask you, man, and excuse me, we talked a little bit about it before we started airing. The guard play on this team. I know it's struggled at times, in my opinion, early on, and I know it's still early. But where does Duke go at the guard position, and how do you get more out of this team? Like, where does the production come from to help your two stars out?
Yeah, no, I mean it's a matter of consistency, man. Like, and when you're talking about freshmen, that's the problem, right? Like, we have seen James, who's an older player, so he's going to be valuable off the bench, however we deploy him or whatever. But I mean, our leading scorers are still young. A sophomore in Caleb Foster, a freshman in Conkin Nipple, another freshman, hopefully in Isaiah Evans if he does see time this game. So you're still talking about inconsistent freshman play. So. Yep. It's one of those things, man. Like obviously, guards win you games in March, and that's how that goes. And I think this team is building towards that and trying to foster those guys. But I mean, to win a game like this against a senior laden squad that Auburn has, you're gonna have to rely on Tyrese Proctor. You're gonna have to rely on Cian James, those types of guys to help the freshmen. And Duke has shot really well this season at home, so that's a factor. But they're gonna find it difficult to get shots against this athletic and lengthy Auburn team because so far that's been the doom for Conkin Nipple. It's been a problem for Caleb Foster as well. So the lineup you guys have presents a matchup problem there on the perimeter, especially. The one thing we really haven't done a lot is turn the ball over, but it has happened the past couple of games that we've played against the higher level opponents. So I'd like to see that cut down a little bit.
Y'all, and Dustin, I'll kick it right to you, man. I just wanted to get this in real quick. Is I think that's a big key to this game tomorrow night. Is when I look at Bruce Pearl in the past, y'all, he was always bringing in 6-foot guards, 5'11" guards, and it would absolutely kill us in the tournament. And everybody's like, well, Auburn had Jabari and he was the number 3 overall pick. And I'm like, yeah, but our guard play just wasn't there. And that's why we got torched by Miami. And now he goes out and he gets a guy like Miles Kelly, the 6'6" transfer from Georgia Tech. He comes in. He's been really good for us on both ends. He's been shooting it well from 3, also playing really high-level defense. And then you got
he's given Duke problems in the past, by the way. I hate that
I was going to say.
I hate that you guys have him.
Yeah, and so you got Denver Jones. And one thing about Denver Jones, man, 6'4", come from FIU, and he can also slide to the 2 guard, and that's probably his natural position. But J.P. Pegues is really it's taking him a minute to make that step up from Georgia State. So Denver's had to play a lot of point this year, and I've liked the length Auburn has at guard, and it's felt pretty refreshing to not have the 5'11". You get blown by on defense every big time possession down the court. So I think that's going to be a big X factor. Dustin, what you got, man?
Yeah, D, you had talked about how Duke's blown everybody out except with the exception of the 2 losses, obviously. 75-72 lost to Kansas, and then the 77-72 loss to Kentucky. And you kind of figure probably going to be a tight game tomorrow night versus Auburn. What does Duke have to do to kind of get over that hump and pull out a tight ball game?
Free throws, man. I'm a big advocate on free throws. You guys shoot a great free throw percentage. I think you're upper 70s, if not 80% in all your games so far. Duke has got to hit free throws. They got to drive to the rack, and they have to hit free throws. And speaking of the lengthy guard play, I think that's what Duke is going to lean on too. I mean, we got, like AC said, Cian James, Tyrese Proctor. They've got to dominate the perimeter, and they have to play like upperclassmen, because if not, you're going to lose that game in Cameron. So you have to attack the attacker, right? I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. and it's going to be a very entertaining game. But Duke needs to get to the free throw line, get some of y'all in foul trouble, and you've got to hit those free throw shots.
And
I think that's the key.
Sorry, just to add to that really quick. One of the things historically about Duke, and I think this is why, Duke's not feared anymore right now. And the past few seasons, I've been watching that trend happen, mainly because we have a bunch of freshmen that we put out on the floor. Nobody's afraid of freshmen. One of the things freshmen don't do well either is get to the line, kind of what B's talking about. We don't get to the line at the clip we used to, and that's what made Duke, what made everybody hate Duke so much was, we're going to get the Duke whistle or whatever. We played Seattle. Seattle doubled up their made free throws for how many we actually even took. Like, we don't take free throws because we shoot a lot, man. Like, we shoot a lot from the perimeter, which, like D is saying, I think that's a little bit of a problem with our squad. I think some of these close games wouldn't be quite as close if we were able to attack the basket a little bit more and put teams in foul trouble even. You saw against Kentucky, that second half against Kentucky. We just could not – we didn't even try to get the ball to the inside, and they weren't even doing anything to stop us. We were just kind of settling with the shots. And, that's something I definitely want to see change with this squad, because we can't just sit on the perimeter and have a three-point contest. It just doesn't work, man. You got to be able to make tough twos to extend leads or get back into games on top of the stops, because defensively we're a good team.
I was going to say I do trust them defensively. I do trust
but we don't take advantage of it because we don't take twos.
We don't get. I get it. I want Duke to play like Auburn. I want Duke to play inside out basketball like Auburn. Auburn gets the ball in the paint every possession. It seems like every single possession, ball hits the paint.
That's what I was going to ask you, D. I was going to ask you, why did you you say you think it's going to be high scoring? I trust the Bruce Pearl defense. Y'all are saying you think that Duke has a good defensive team. Just kind of where are you at? Why do you think it's going to be a high scoring basketball game?
I think both of these teams play high tempo basketball. That's what Bruce Pearl has always done.
Yeah.
And John Shire said it earlier this year. We want to have the most possessions. We want to lead the nation in possessions. So
we are far from that, though. Unfortunately, true, far from it.
But we also held Arizona, who scores 94 points a game, to 55 or whatever it was. So, Duke's always been a shooter's gym, and I think tomorrow is going to prove that. I could see both teams scoring 80 plus. I think it's going to be an up and down game, like fast pace. Buckle up.
Okay.
AC, I heard you say just a minute ago that people don't fear freshmen, man, but you guys had a guy that painted his fingernails last year in Jared McCain, and he was a dog, man. I feared him, but so the one I really want to talk about is Cooper Flagg, right, Dustin? I think that's the guy. What does Auburn got to do to stop Cooper Flagg, man? Does Auburn let Cooper Flagg get his and try to stop everybody else, or like how does Auburn win that matchup?
It starts with making him a standstill shooter. It starts there. It kind of progresses to forcing him into bad driving opportunities, because he's done that a couple times this season. Like he averages like 3 turnovers a game right now, at least the past 4 games. And it's been turnovers in big spots. You can turn the ball over at the 11-minute mark in the first half, and it really doesn't mean much. But you turn the ball over in the last 3 minutes of the game a couple of times, and that's a problem. And one of the things teams have done is they just funnel him to the middle and then surround him. And he dribbles off his foot, whatever else happens. But you don't take that away from him, like as the coach, as John Shire, because he's also so valuable from the perimeter, because he is 6'10". He can put the ball on the floor and get to the rack. He's one of the few guys who can generate free throws at the line. So you don't take that away from him, but I think Auburn is going to deploy some kind of double or drop coverage on him to force him to be a shooter, and if he does drive, to have help, because we're going to have Malik Brown on the floor at times, and he's not a shooter. Auburn's going to dare him to shoot. Kama Malawach, even though the scouting report says he can hit threes, he doesn't do it at a high clip. So they're gonna make him prove that he can hit them, and see what happens. It's the old the drop coverage thing that hurt us last year against teams. I think we'll see that a little bit against teams this year, because we have struggled to shoot with our bigs, especially.
Dustin, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Janai Broome.
Yeah, I mean, look, AC, I'll start with you. Anybody that watches Auburn, you know that it all runs through Janai, right? So just kind of what is Duke's plan to slow him down, if that's even possible?
I think points wise, I don't know that you do a lot because we're low on post minutes anyway, so we don't have a lot of fouls to give in the post. So you can't be physical with him if that makes sense. Colin Malawat's 7'2", 250, but he's young, and defense actually is not one of his strongest suits. Actually, the offensive side of the ball is probably one of his strongest suits. So defensively, that's difficult. That's a task. That's like, you know what? Maybe Malik Brown is the one that's on him, and Malik Brown is an incredible defender, but he's also foul prone. So we might only get 12 good minutes out of him against Broome. So really, like the key with him is going to be rebounding. Like he gets so many boards for Auburn, and that not saying this in a disrespectful way or anything. It's just the rest of the squad doesn't board with him as often as you'd like to see, especially with the bigger guards and things. And I think that's an area that Duke does a really good job with, and I think that's an area we're gonna have to dominate. We're gonna have if we even want a chance to win this game, we have to dominate the boards and create opportunities for us on the other side. Otherwise, we're gonna get blown out of our own gym.
D, I wanted to ask you this. We're going to throw two of them at you. We got Janai, and you're going to see Dylan Cardwell both on the floor at the same time. Now, Dylan doesn't, he doesn't bring the offensive side to the basketball game like Janai does. But how does Duke go at Auburn in this paint presence that we have tomorrow night in Cameron Indoor? How do you guys attack that?
I think you go straight at him, kind of like I wanted to see Duke do against Hunter Dickinson, and which they did a little bit. The easiest way to defend somebody is if they're in foul trouble sitting on the bench because they're not on the court. So I'd go straight at him. If like we were talking about Cooper Flagg, if Cooper Flagg can get an inside shoulder and get going downhill, you're not stopping. He can dunk from the free throw line.
Yeah.
So if he's playing face up, that's a foul and probably an and one. So again, it goes back to free throw shooting and just attacking the rim. And when that defense is crashing, the shooters have got to be ready to shoot. Tyrese Proctor and he's played great lately. Tyrese Proctor, give him his flowers. Proctor's played amazing. Connie's got to show back up. Connie's got to start shooting the threes again. He leads the team in Durham, I believe, in scoring on the road.
In Durham is the key.
Thank God this is in Durham.
Yeah. But seriously, quite honestly,
if you're gonna double Cooper or you're gonna double Com, then somebody's open on the 3-point line, and you've got to be a threat. I don't, and I'm not trying to slander anybody, but you guys don't shoot great threes. You don't shoot them at a high clip. When Duke gets cooking, they do shoot them at a high clip. And I think that could be the difference. Like if Duke can make some threes, if they can get some people in foul trouble where you're not guarding, some of the next year's, lottery picks, then it could bode well for Duke. Now, if we're not hitting our shots and we get out rebounded, it's going to be a long night.
Y'all talk about the 3-point shooting, and I know Dustin, he's right there with me on this. Auburn, it's been refreshing this year so far that last year we couldn't shoot threes at all. That was actually the downfall of the team. When we lost that first round matchup to Yale, people were like, "Oh, it was CBM's fault." And I'm like, "No, it was actually we couldn't hit a three, and Yale had this cat that couldn't miss."
Right.
And so, you can't trade twos for threes, man. And he couldn't miss, and we couldn't make. And then we also couldn't make it to charity stripe, and it it broke us. But this year, it's been like a thing of we still don't shoot it at a high percentage, but we have more options this year that can get going. Like in Maui, one night it was Miles Kelly, and then the next night it was Tahad Pettiford, and then the next night it was Denver Jones, and it was just like, okay, so we're not spreading the love around, but it's one guy every other night stepping up, and we're just like, okay, it's different than last year where it was just flat out nobody. It was just, hey, throw the ball into 4 and let's hope we get a basket. So hopefully we can shoot it pretty well tomorrow night. And if Auburn's hitting their threes, man, I think this is going to be one hell of a game. Dustin, what you say?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be fun, man. And like you said there in the open, just really excited for the opportunity. And if you would have told me as an Auburn fan, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, Auburn's going to go into Cameron Indoor as the higher ranked team, pass whatever you're smoking because I need it, right? And here we are, right? And here we are. So it's crazy, man. I want both of y'all to answer this question before we get out of here. We're sitting here just fresh off the Maui Invitational as Auburn fans, winning that, number 2 in the country, feeling good, feeling like we should Elite Eight, Final Four, should make a run like that. I know that over there at Duke, that's kind of the expectation every year. Mm-hmm. What is the ceiling for this Duke team? What is a reasonable expectation for this bunch this year?
Go ahead, D.
AC, I've told you this a million times. I think we talked about it at Countdown. The way that this team is built, the way that John is recruited, the way that he has said, quote unquote, he wants dogs. And quite frankly, without using the words kicked players off the team, he told players to transfer or go somewhere else, basically, right? Mm-hmm. This is a Final Four would be great, but this is as close to a championship or bust team as I have ever seen in Durham. And I live 15 minutes from the place. I have not missed a game since I can remember. So it's as close to a championship or bust year that I've ever seen. And this is going to prove, can Duke hang with quite literally the big boys? Like, you guys got linked all over the court. And not saying Duke doesn't, but can we compete with that link? Can Duke beat on some dudes that aren't Seattle and NC Central and the lesser tier, and not to take anything away from them, but y'all know what I'm saying. Like, can we compete? Sure. Can we compete with top 5 opponents? Can we outscore top 5 opponents? And tomorrow's going to be a big testament to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the roster is built for a championship. You got 3 high-level, senior type transfers that you brought in, who are, for the most part, are all producing. You have a highly talented freshman that you brought in, a few. So that's a good mix, right? It's just there's still youth in a lot of places. Like the leading scoring on this team is still youth related. The coach is still, this is year 3 for him. Most coaches don't find their stride until year 6 or 7 if they get that chance. So there's a youth factor at play here, but the way the team was built, the brand, everything that goes into it, man, it is like Dee said, it is championship or bust truly, because that's what this team was building for. Like, he didn't play around. Like, he booted guys out and brought guys in strictly for our championship run. So you got to say it's championship or bust, because he didn't say, okay, well, Sweet 16 will be good. Like, you just got to the Elite 8 and we're a half away from possibly getting to the Final Four. You can't settle at this point, especially doing what we did. So you have no choice but to say championship for this team. But can they get there? That's the biggest question, is the youth. Can they get there with the youth that this team has on all across the board, all the way to the coaches?
Yeah, love that.
Guys, I want to fit something in here real quick. And down in Auburn, we love our football, right? And I want to shout
War Damn Eagle, right?
Hey, that's it, War Damn Eagle. But I want to shout out Duke football, man.
Yes, Lord.
9-3. How about that? How are we feeling about that, man? Like, Malik Murphy doing his thing up there. Y'all lost Mike Elko. He goes down to A&M, and then it's like y'all didn't skip a beat, man. Show me some love for Duke football.
We're a couple field goals and a bad quarter away from being undefeated, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the play call against SMU for going for 2, because, man, God bless him, that kicker couldn't hit a dadgum thing. But, I mean, like, really, if you look at that team, they really are a few field goals and 1 bad quarter against Miami away from being undefeated, which is absolutely crazy. And we got some dudes coming in next year. I hope, and shout out to Nina King too. She has literally invested a bunch of money into this program, and I hope she gives Manny whatever he needs to stay at Duke. so that he doesn't leave in the middle of the night and pull a Baltimore Colts situation. Because he's great. And he's great. And he has rallied the troops. And nobody thought Duke would be in this position. Hell, we didn't have an offensive line in spring.
Yeah.
And here we are now. And Malik Murphy's slinging the ball around, man. He's a great deep threat. I've enjoyed every single Duke football game this year. It's been amazing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, Blake, it's kind of what you were talking about with Auburn, like, you know, not being able to imagine here we are, you know, here you guys are coming to Cameron as a top 2 team in the nation. Yeah. It's kind of the same for Duke football. It's like from where they were to where they are now in that short of time. It's the beauty and the curse of NIL and transfer portal is, you know, a team that's supposed to be good can all of a sudden lose everybody in the middle of the night, and a team that's supposed to be trash can all of a sudden be, you know, a conference champion and go into the playoffs. Yeah. So, right, exactly. So, it's the great equalizer right now, man. So, you know, enjoy it while we have it before they change some rules and stuff, because this is what you're going to see for the next little bit, at least until some of those rules changes, is teams being able to do exactly this, like come from nothing and figure it out.
Love that, man. I just had to fit that one in there. Dustin, you want to close us out, man?
Yeah, man, I've had fun watching Duke football this year. Manny doing one hell of a job over there. Look, guys, we got a lot of college basketball heads. They follow college basketball no matter the team, so tell them where they can find you guys at.
We have the 5 Point Play podcast. We got Patreon. You find us on Twitter. I got the Twitter handle right there, 5 Point Play Pod C1. Check us out. We got Twitter. We got Patreon. We got Blue Sky. I don't even do it.
Yeah, we
don't know if anybody's on Blue Sky. I have no idea. Figuring it out. But
I don't even know how to use it yet. But we own
handles the same on Instagram. We're all over the place. We got a Discord for our people. So we're trying to grow this thing, man. We just joined up with you guys on the College Huddle. So we've had a great opportunity and great experience with that so far. Getting a chance to work with you guys. We were on with the Arizona guys before that game. It's definitely opened up some doors for us in this podcast space, being able to collaborate. So thank you guys for having us on.
Yeah, awesome, man. It's been a lot of fun. Awesome, man. I really appreciate you guys having us for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a fun basketball game. All right, everybody, hit that like button. Share this thing out on social media. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. It's War Damn Eagle, baby.
War Damn.
Go Duke.
Go Duke.